Welcome to my journey, where today we're doing a mini beef prep for the freezer. That's right, we did beef today. I wanted to get some things in the freezer for surgery, if you're new. And so today I decided to work on beef. We put some cooked hamburger in the freezer, so you're ready. If you want spaghetti, or tacos, or you need some chili for a hot dog, or you got hamburger helper, or nachos, anything that you need cooked hamburger for, it's ready to go. Now, I didn't make like a bunch of sloppy joes. I didn't make like a bunch of sloppy joes to freeze, or taco meat to freeze, or anything like that, because when the mood hits, we might want tacos and all we have left is sloppy joes. This way it's very versatile. Just whatever you need it for, there it is. I also made 2 things of stew beef for the crock pot and 3 meatloaves. And all 3 of these meats were stretched. There's only the 2 of us here, me and my husband. We don't need as much meat as we needed when the kids were home. That's hard to get used to, cooking less when you're used to cooking, a certain amount. My mama, she never could figure it out. She laid out enough for an army if it was just you and her. She just couldn't help it. That's what she knew. So we started paring down more than we have in the past. And David even said today, he says, I don't really eat as much meat as I used to. I'm like, yeah, I know the feeling. So also, you don't really need, I have to eat a lot of protein, but you don't need as much in one sitting as you might think you do. So you can get by with less. So I show you how I used to, back when the kids were home, stretch my hamburger. I stretched my meatloaf today. Instead of making 2, I made it into 3. So for the same amount of hamburger, I got 3 meals instead of 2. Wait till you see how many meals of hamburger, ground hamburger, cooked hamburger that we got. Just wait. I mean, we stretched it, and it will be perfectly fine the way it is, I promise. So, and the stew beef too, we stretched it down. So that's what we're doing today. And let's see, I still have a few more things up my sleeve that I want to get ready before the big day comes. But for now, we'll turn around and look at some hamburger. Oh, or just some beef. How about that? Some beef. The first thing we're going to start on is our cooked hamburger. I have the biggest pot I have, because I'm going to do 6 pounds of hamburger. This is 93. And 2 large onions. So I just need to get this in the pan, and some garlic. And we are going to let that cook while we go on and do other things. I have all the hamburger in here. I went ahead and turned the burner on. It can start cooking while I chop the onions. I'm just going to add garlic till it feels right. And then I will just chop up these onions. Okay, so I got all the meat, all the onions, the garlic. I do not salt it because I don't know how I'm going to use it, so I don't know what will be added to it. So I don't want to have something over salted. So I just leave just this. I'm just going to keep coming back to it and cooking it and crumbling it until it's done. And while this is cooking, because it's going to take a little bit, there's a lot in here, we'll go over here and start on something else. You can probably hear the hamburger cooking in the background, but we're over here, we're going to start on the meatloaf. So I have 4 eggs, because I'm doubling my recipe. I'm going to beat those up just a little bit. Now, I like to put my spices in here and beat them up, because I think they distribute throughout the meatloaf better. Now, these are the spices I use, and when I made this meatloaf, I did not measure them. I just poured it in the palm of the heart, just the heart of my hand. So since I'm doubling it, I'm going to double all the ingredients. So this is just dried onion, dry mustard, this is let's see, what is this? Coriander. Oh, I had to stop and think there for a minute. Go lightly on the coriander. I have some ground somewhere, but I'm not sure. Go lightly because it is strong. So I don't put a lot of it. That's plenty. Garlic salt. Uh-oh. Okay, let me back up and punt on that. I have my rice in there to keep it from clumping. No, I didn't think about that, so I'm going to have to shake it out. Paprika. Onion salt. I'm going to have to do the same thing for it. Put the little shaker back on. And pepper. And my recipe says white pepper. And I can tell you why it's white pepper, because I had a recipe way back in the day, and I can't remember what it was, but I remember having a recipe that called for white pepper, and I had it on hand, and I didn't know what else to use it for. So I said, well, I'll use it in my meatloaf. Now we just want to mix this together really well. Okay, let me get these spices up, and then we will put the meatloaf together. Okay, I have 3 pounds of hamburger, and this is also the 93%. It's the same thing that I cooked over there on the stove, and it got done. So I'm just going to chop it around a little bit. Let's add our egg mixture. We'll stir it around, kind of get it evenly blended. Now, you can get in here with your hands if you want to. If you're new to my channel, I can't stand to touch raw hamburger, among other things. But whenever it's time, I will put my plastic gloves on and do what I have to do. But until then, it's a spoon. Now we're going to do some onions. I am doing this recipe like the old days. The only reason it was pinned down on my website is because I was doing Weight Watchers. And you have to put in how many ingredients to get your right points, right? Well, I had never measured anything in this meatloaf, ever. So I pinned it down to the best I could to make the meatloaf that I like. But now we're just going by feel. But we're making it the old days. So you just want some shredded cheese. We'll mix this around. Okay, then you want some Ritz cracker crumbs to bind it. And I have these already ground. You just want it to hold together, but you don't want it to be dry. Do a little more. Okay, I'm going to get my gloves. Okay, now I am going to get in here and mush this together. Yes, I got my gloves. And I'm going to try to get, well, we'll see in a minute. Let me go ahead and mush this up. Okay, I think I got it good mixed. Now we're going to take these loaf pans from the Dollar Tree. And while I normally get 2 out of the recipe we just did, I'm going to try to get 3. So that would be a 1 pound hamburger. 1 pound meatloaf. I'm just going to spray them real good. And that is gracious plenty for me and David, because we always have extra when I make the full recipe like I did when the kids were home. So let's see if I can get even. Okay, I got me a glove out for pressing this in here. I know some people don't mind getting their hands in the meatloaf, but I'm just not one of them. So, okay, these come with a cardboard lid. Okay, I don't know what that, oh, it's perforated. I guess it comes off there. But what I want to do first is put some plastic wrap, like I do all the other things that I've been prepping for the freezer, directly on the meatloaf to try to keep out as much air as possible. I like to do it both ways. Okay. We're on here meatloaf. And put that right down right there to the corner. Yeah, I think I got it good enough. Now I'm going to do that to the other 2. Now we'll do a real easy one. This is enough to make like 2 pounds of stewed beef, but we don't eat that much anymore. So I told David, I said, what we bought, it was not quite 2 pounds. It works out to be a little over 12 ounces per bag, but this is enough for 1 meal for us. So that's how much I'm gonna do. But I just need 1 can cream of mushroom. Oh, hold on. And then 1 can of French onion. Let's mix that up before we get too full. And then 1 can of beef broth. And this is for the crock pot. This is how I make it in the crock pot. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to pour half in each bag and put it in the freezer. That way all I have to do is, actually, if I can break it up, put it in the crock pot, I can let it thaw out while it's cooking. It'll just take a little longer. Let's see, how much do I have in here? 4 cups, okay. So that'll be 2 cups on each one. And just get all the air out. Okay, now I can freeze them flat or like that. I'll probably do this. Get my trusty restaurant pan out. Let it shake. That way, whenever they're frozen, they'll be that shape, and I can just slide them in wherever I need to slide them in. So the next thing, we will package up our hamburger if it's cool enough. We are going to go ahead and start on a hamburger. It's still a little warm, but that's okay. Back when I used to do this when the kids were home, back in the day, you know that time period, back in the day, I had these little containers, little square containers. I got them at the Dollar Tree with blue lids. They still make those containers with blue lids, and they probably still make the square ones, but I don't have them. And they do take up extra room, but that was what I always froze my hamburger mixture like this in. One of those was one recipe's worth. Well, it was like a cup and a half. So there's like a half a cup less than a typical pound of hamburger would give you. But the thing is, we never knew the difference. Whatever we put it in, we could never tell the difference with that half a cup. And I got an extra meal or two out of my hamburger. So that's just one way of stretching it. That is what I like to do back then. And I thought, you know what? Just because it's me and David don't mean we have to spend more on groceries. We absolutely can stretch. So a cup and a half in here is about right there. There's a little mark. You can see it. So I'm going to do that. And I'm going to put them first in one of these bags. I'm just going to hold this on there to help me get it in. So I'm going to go through, and that don't look like much, but it really is enough. I promise. So let me go through and get all that packaged up. Okay, let's see how many we got. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. We got 13 meals out of 6 pounds of hamburger. Now, you can make yours fuller than this if you want to, but I'm telling you, when we would make spaghetti or even sloppy joes or chili for hot dogs or hamburgers, hamburger helper, anything that you need cooked hamburger for, tacos, we always had enough. So stretch it with onions and then package it up in as much or as little as you want. But the onions will definitely stretch it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to squeeze all the air out. Get a little tight little package like that. This is 93%. And I will know that this is one meal's worth. And I'm just going to fill up, probably take 2 bags. And that's how I'll put them in the freezer. So let me do that. Okay, there, our hamburger is done. So let's go over to the other side of the kitchen and see what we've done today. Here is what we've done today. We have our cooked hamburger, 13 meals of that. We have 3 meatloafs. And we have 2 French onion stew beefs. So, I think our little mini beef prep was a success. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope it gives you some inspiration to go out and prep something for your freezer if you need to. Or if you just need to save money by stretching something a little bit farther. So, that'll do it for me today. I do hope you enjoyed this video, and I will see you on my next one.